Hey, it's guitarist Eric Skye again. I want to talk today briefly about note naming, or your ability to name the notes up and down the fretboard. Your challenge today is, if you've never really done this before, to get on it, and even if you're fairly good at it, maybe polish it a little bit, because it's such a useful skill. Your ability to take chords and scales that you learn and move them into different keys just by moving them up and down the neck and be able to name those notes hinges on that. Also, just your ability to communicate to other musicians. I think maybe you read in a book today that it's cool to target E notes when you're playing over the chord C major 7. Now, if you can name all your E's pretty quickly, then this is going to be pretty exciting information. Otherwise, it's not going to go so far. So there's just a whole host of reasons to be able to really name the notes up and down the fretboard. Not necessarily read them, but just to be able to name them. So when I was a kid taking lessons in the neighborhood music store, I remember they had like this kind of early 70s posters drawing of an acoustic guitar with all of the notes written on it. And it was just super intimidating. I think the way the guitar is tuned and laid out, it's kind of a mess, really. So rather than sort of thinking like one fret at a time, what I'd like to show you is maybe thinking about it vertically. So just moving up and down the fretboard, using a few simple rules, and hopefully this will clear things up if you haven't really tackled this subject yet. So the first thing to know is the names of the open strings, which are E, A, D, G, B, E, or Eric always digs great big enchiladas. And what we're going to do is we're going to go up each string, starting with that starting note, and we're going to name all the natural notes. So we're not going to really talk about the sharps and flats and stuff yet. And just remember these two simple rules: that there's not a note between B and C and E and F. And that's why when you look at a piano, you got just a nice straight row of white keys, obviously, but the black keys are in little clumps of 3 and 2, because those notes are missing. Same thing on the guitar and every other instrument. So let's start on the A string, which gives us the note A. And if we go up to the first fret, we have A sharp. So B here is at the second fret. The next note, because remember our little rule, there's nothing between E and F and B and C. And here we are, we're going from B to C. So we just go right from B to C, then it's C sharp, then D sharp, then E. And then remember our little rules, nothing between E and F and B and C. So we are at E, so we go right to F, then we get to G, and then we get to the 12th fret, which you probably have double dots on the side of your guitar, or maybe even on the front of the guitar. Most guitar makers do this. And it's the halfway point of the string. That's where everything starts over again. So we have A. So if you started with A and you get up to the 12th fret and you don't have A, something happened along the way. And if you do have A, you're in good shape. So you can do that for each string. So we got D, so then D sharp or E flat. You can call it whichever one you want. And then E, and then remembering our little rule, we go right to F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B. And you just go up and down each string like that. And you can acknowledge, the sharp or flat, but you don't have to say it. You could eventually just go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. I think it'll be easier for you to remember everything. And after a while, it'll make complete sense that if this is D and this is C, then the note in between, you could call it D flat or C sharp, whatever floats your boat for now. So just go up and down, name the natural notes. And then after you feel sort of comfortable going up the neck, starting on each string, remember you got 2 E strings, so you really only have to learn 5 strings. Then go backwards, so you're not always having to reset down to the open string. So then it's a little more challenging. Even if you know the names of the notes, you got to go A, G, F, E, D. So just kind of go backwards. And then maybe if you want, you could later maybe start in the middle and kind of go up and go down. Just so, again, you're not always resetting to one end of the neck or the other. Remember, after the 12th fret, the guitar just becomes a little mini guitar. So the 13th fret's the same as the first fret. The 14th's the same as the second. So don't really worry about that. Sometimes what I'll tell people is it's a good thing to practice away from the guitar. If you're at work or something, you could just take out a piece of paper, make 6 lines going across, and 6 lines going down, and 12 going across, hello, and just try to fill it in, just try to fill it in with a pencil. And soon you'll start to make all these little connections. If you want, you can also think in terms of like octaves. For example, if you skip a string and skip a fret, you get the octave shape. So sometimes people will get a little quicker on their bass strings because we named so many of our chords and scales on them. So maybe you're really good about this being G and this being C, but maybe the third and fourth string are less clear. So if you can see those octaves, of course, because of the way the guitar is tuned, the octave shape adds a fret when you get to the next two string sets. That's the fourth and second, and then the third and the first. But I think that octave shape can be helpful. And then, of course, you got, as I mentioned already, the two outside strings being the same. So anyway, I just really think it's a great thing to be able to do to name all the notes. And, I can do it, I think, pretty darn well, but I always need some brushing up on it. So give it a shot and see how it goes.